million in a wrongful death lawsuit. It says HCSO. I'm going to see if I could see what that stands for. HCSO. Hillsbury County Sheriff's Office. That's what that is. It said that they were found 90% responsible by a jury. And 99 teens were detained by Hillsborough County deputies and kicked out. The parents said they were never notified their son was kicked out, adding that their son was negligently left alone. He tried to cross I-4 but was hit and killed by a car. HCSO repeatedly invoked qualified immunity, a law that protects officers from civil suits and keeps information from being released. The appeal was denied, which gave the Joseph family the break they were looking for. After the wrongful death lawsuit was filed, the case headed to federal court, and the jury awarded the family $15 million. And then they changed rules about youth being there without parents. And it says there's also a tent outside the entrance to make sure any teen asked to leave has a way to contact their parents, which is important. Okay, are we about ready? How much time do you need to be ready?
Who, me?
Yep.
I don't think I can get any more ready.
Okay. Let me just throw this square out.
I do want to buy the Survivor's Response Guide.
What is that?
It's something that the Andrew Joseph Foundation. And actually, because we don't actually have to buy any books, I will buy books.
The Survivor's Guide, is that for people, what is that for? This is cashew clusters with almonds and pumpkin seeds. You're welcome to some. That's what I use to get in some of my grains and seeds when I need them. Okay. After local news and national news, we have Community Comments and Voices case going to come on.
Okay.
For sure. And then after that, is there anything else that we want to, we definitely want to mention during community comments, our event. And closing, let's play the recording of Andrew Joseph doing the asada and do it together. So that video, I'm gonna download this video of his power up, and then I'm gonna go, must be some problems going on, sure. All right, and then let me go back to the other video of them doing the asada that I heard. This one.
Fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win.
There you go.
It is our duty to win.
Okay. Let me switch this to my phone. All right, that's there. Waiting on us to say go. I'm already hot. You ready? All right, yeah.
Oh, is it this down here? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying not to hit that again.
Oh no, account sign in. I gotta sign in.
Oh,
This is to the GoDaddy sites. That's what the link was to. Do we have our values listed somewhere else?
blmkidsubc.com.
Thank you.
And we can share that website.
Yes, let's do it. All right, let us know when you hit play.
I am hitting play right now. You're on.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is just before 12 noon. We're at 11:51 a.m. in our Eastern Standard Time here in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I am Mani, and I'm here with my comrade. You want to introduce yourself, friend?
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Jade.
And we are coming to you today with just a real chill live stream. We have been definitely navigating life personally and as an org, but we're here to just still show up and have some conversation and give some offerings. So today on May 23rd, we're going to start by going through our guiding principles. These principles are on our website. We do have a new and easier website domain, and it is blmkzoobc.com. So that's blmkzoobc.com. All right. Our guiding principles are restorative justice. We are committed to collectively, lovingly, and courageously working vigorously for freedom and justice for Black people and, by extension, all people. Empathy. We are committed to practicing empathy. We engage comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their context. Loving engagement. We're committed to embodying and practicing justice, liberation, and peace in our engagements with one another. Diversity. We are committed to acknowledging, respecting, and celebrating differences and commonalities. Globalism. We see ourselves as part of the global Black family, and we are aware of the different ways we are impacted or privileged as Black folk who exist in different parts of the world. Queer affirming. We are committed to fostering a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking or the belief that all in the world are heterosexual unless they disclose otherwise. Trans affirming. We're committed to embracing and making space for trans siblings to participate and lead, being self-reflexive and doing the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folk, especially Black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Collective value. We're guided by the fact that all Black lives matter regardless of actual perceived sexual identity, gender expression, economic status, ability, disability, religious beliefs or disbeliefs, immigration status, or location. Intergenerational. We're committed to fostering an intergenerational and communal network free from ageism. We believe that all people, regardless of age, show up with the capacity to lead and learn. Black families, we're committed to making our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. Black villages, we're committed to disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another and especially our children to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Unapologetically Black. We are unapologetically Black in our positioning and affirming that Black Lives Matter. We don't need to qualify our position. Black women, we're committed to building a Black women affirming space free from sexism, misogyny, and male-centeredness. And shout out to our chapter, which has over our formations and reformations hosted women, queer, and non-binary and trans people. So we honor and uplift and thank all of those that have participated in all of our formations of BLM up to present. So now we're going to move on to local and national news that we want to make sure to highlight and uplift. So I'm going to switch to you, Jade, to bring up some things we want to mention.
So I will start with, and I'm gonna have you help me fill in the additional details, but I'm gonna start with the fact that we have some folks right now who are celebrating the life of one of our comrades, Andrew Joseph, and I have a statement. Well, I'll read part of this statement, just a little bit about him. Our chapter actually got to meet him just a short while ago, and he left such a strong impression that I think when we heard the news, we did not believe, we thought we were confused because we could not believe that somebody who was just so, had such a presence, could be gone. And so I'm going to read this statement here. We are devastated by the passing of our most beloved brother, comrade, teacher, coach, and friend, Andrew Joseph Jr. Has been the soul of our movement. Every single being who has ever been in his orbit has had their life changed by him. He teaches us to live, to struggle, to fight, to sing, to chant, to laugh. He is a master storyteller and the warmest of spirits. We have been blessed to have him as our founding rapid response coordinator, serving as Black Lives Matter grassroots on the ground lead, who pours in love and care as he guides justice families through the toughest times of their lives. He builds moments, not simply moments. As a co-founder of BLM Grassroots Florida, he centers child safety with the founding of the Andrew Joseph III Foundation in his son's honor. And this is where I'm going to ask if you could tell the story of what happened to his son and kind of how he came into starting this foundation.
Yes. So Andrew Joseph Jr. back in 2014 was attending a student day at the state fair in Hillsborough County. This was in Florida, the Florida State Fair. And due to something that came about with the youth, 99 teenagers, including Andrew, were detained by the Hillsborough County deputies, and they were all kicked out of the fair. After being kicked out, Andrew Joseph Jr. tried to cross, I'm guessing it's one of the highways, Interstate I-4, and he was hit and killed by a car. In the year of 2022, according to Fox 13 News, they have an article saying that his family was awarded a wrongful death lawsuit against the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, as the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office was found 90% responsible by a jury for the death of Andrew Joseph Jr. His mother, Deanna, said, "I always said that Andrew would not die in vain, and the reason we engaged in this fight so hard is that we didn't want any family to ever stand in the shoes that we're standing in today." I feel like that sentiment gets repeated so many times by justice families, those who are surviving parents and family members of those who are taken due to actions by police. His parents, remember, he's 14. I myself have an almost 14-year-old, so I could not imagine this. But his parents said they were never notified that their son was kicked out. And so they said that he was negligently left alone, and then he tried to cross that highway. So since then, they had been fighting for the sheriff's office to be held accountable for how things were handled. But, and this is something that goes along with one of BLM Grassroots and other Black liberation organizations' demands, that we had to end qualified immunity for police officers, because the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office kept invoking qualified immunity. And what that is it's a law that protects officers from having civil lawsuits, and it keeps information about what happened to someone that was that has been involved in a death or other injustice with police. It keeps information from being released. So qualified immunity is something that it's a barrier and obstruction. It stands in the way of justice for families whose loved ones have been harmed. So in 2021, the appeal was denied to invoke qualified immunity, and so the Joseph family was able to move forward with the wrongful death lawsuit, and they were awarded an amount for that wrongful death, and so the reason that this is, telling the story of that family is so hard, because they already lost, a child to something that was preventable. And then in their continued fight as a part of BLM Grassroots, when we did meet Mr. Joseph, we were accompanying another justice mother who had lost her son to the police in Grand Rapids. And when we were in the virtual room together, he was talking about how experiencing the wrongful death of your loved one, especially your child, how that impacts your physical health. He had just said how it impacts your health. It can result in many hospital visits due to ailments that will come up. And 1 week later, we found out that he suddenly passed away. One of the headlines that we read was that he passed away due to a broken heart. I saw that. So I can't imagine what these parents and these close family members are going through when they lose a loved one in such a violent and in such a preventable manner. And then on top of that, have to deal with the grief and trauma of trying to stay well and healthy, mind, body, and spirit afterwards, including gathering the capacity to demand what justice would look like in the name of their loved one. So it is sad. There was a lot of grieving of Mr. Joseph, even though our chapter had just met him. I was definitely impacted by the impact that he left on so many people. So we have a couple of recordings. Excuse me. I feel like the allergies is getting to a lot of people right now. We have a recording of him. He was known for doing these chants and something that was called Power Up. And so people were sharing recordings of that. So I would like to share a recording of him doing that in just a second.
And one of the things that that others have highlighted and that we actually got to hear from him when we did meet him is that you have to turn your pain into purpose. And he said it's not going to get easier. And we have to make sure that, justice, it may not always come in the form of a lawsuit, of people being publicly held accountable for what they've done, but that sometimes justice is also found in keeping those stories alive, making sure that the narrative is not this kind of hateful version, right, that they try to put out, and so taking control of that. And so I think that's the foundation, I think, was a very important way or important demonstration of that.
Okay, so here, thank you for sharing that. It's so important that more than one of us are in the room at a time because we all remember different things. I'm glad you remembered that because he did say that that it's very hard to get justice through the court system. It can mostly come in making sure that that narrative of who that person was to you is never taken over or obscured or misrepresented by the media, especially pro-police media. Okay, so here's a recording of him leading this Power Up at a gathering. Let me make sure my volume is up.
Who's got the power?
We got the power.
Who's got the power?
We got the power.
Who's got the power?
We got the power.
Gonna show New Orleans the power. Power! Breakdown! Power!
Here's where they're putting their fist up.
Power! 2 times, breakdown! All right. You got our welcome.
So that is his voice. That's Andrew Joseph. Would he be the second if his son was the third? Because I was going to say senior.
He is the third.
Okay.
Family of Andrew. Oh, nope. Yep, he is the second.
He would be the second because his
Yeah.
son's the third. Yes. So we want to send the family, Deanna, his wife, and Deja, his daughter. Just want to send you guys so much love right now, holding you, and thank you for all of the work that your family has done, that we're able to be inspired by and to continue to learn from.
Yeah, and just a reminder, his homegoing is today, and we have several folks just from around the nation that are part of this grassroots network that are going to be present today, and that's public homegoing in New Orleans, which is actually where he is from. His family actually moved to Tampa trying to seek refuge from Hurricane Katrina.
That's important to note.
And so there is going to also be a service in Tampa, Florida, too, at a future But yeah, and so we definitely want to make sure that we take a moment to um, really sit with that and honor him. And I also want to lift up that we are one person short today. Kira is also um, at a homegoing party for a loved one. And it just seems like we've got a lot of that going on.
Yeah, we had a funeral in our family too a couple weeks ago in Chicago. And so it's always so important to go, and also a part of the Black tradition is to be there at these really important transitions in life, right? Births, weddings, homegoings, celebrations, graduations, but like just showing up and celebrating one another, and also holding one another in times of grief. This is just a part of of what we do. So we want to send all the families that are moving through grief and loss right now a lot of love. I actually have a hymn to offer us, and a lot of us grew up being aware of this hymn. Even if you did not grow up in a Christian faith tradition, this hymn, I believe, became one of those kind of popular campfire hymns.
Campfire for who?
Campfire, but for people that, yep. So Come By Here, it was especially colloquially known as Kumbaya. But over time, I realized that this was taking the kind of pidgin English of, well, I believe is the Gullah Geechee community in this song. So it is known as African American spiritual. So I'm just going to offer and lift up a few verses of it. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Oh, Lord, come by here. Someone's crying, Lord, come by here. Someone's crying, Lord, come by here. Someone's crying, Lord, come by here. Oh, Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Oh, Lord, come by here. Something about that music, what some people call that old-time religion, it really is a good regulator for the spirit. So when I can, or when we can, sometimes just sitting in some music is such a good way. It takes me back even a little bit to, I remember when some of us attended the funeral for Patrick Lyoya, and there was this beautiful song sang by his friend at the end. I have a recording of it. It was, I believe, in the Congolese language. It was just this beautiful song. Even though those of us who are English speaking didn't understand the words, it was beautiful. And the family was able to to emote, and they were able to, cry out and do what they needed to do during that time. And the music just carried them. And so it really does hold us during difficult times, when just speaking is not enough and too much at the same time. Sometimes we just need to be held by music. So I really value our Black music traditions. So we're going to move forward into community comments. Let's start by announcing something that we're doing that is new for us, but we're excited about, and that's an event that we're holding next month in June.
Yes. So next month, June 13th, we are super excited to invite y'all to the Black and Brown Get Down. There is going to be music, free food. We are going to have, yes, Get Down. We're going to have a free store. We are going to have some culture education, dancing. We're going to have artists. Like, it is going to be amazing, y'all. And I'm really excited. So it's going to be Saturday, June 13th, 1 to 4 p.m. at Upjohn Park. That the address for that is 1000 Walter Street. But yeah, we hope y'all can come out and hang out with us. Like, we're really excited about this.
So the idea of this is really that it's just a community cookout, but like in Black and Brown community cookout terms. So we want to invite the community, Black and Brown community especially, to come to celebrate our resilience, our history, and ongoing current resistance. There's so much going on now that people have had to really carry and shoulder. So we wanted to offer an event that's about celebration. And we come and just celebrate ourselves for a bit. And so we are going to have a DJ who I love. We're going to have Magic Radio come and DJ for us. And I love that they were like, please send me a playlist of like inclusive songs, because I want to be inclusive to all of the communities that will be present. So if you have a song you want to put on this playlist, come to the event and let's offer some suggestions. So I'm excited. I know for me, like, one of the best celebratory times that I have had in the past and that I have ongoing is I get into the dance circle. So for me, the social dance circle, especially in the Latinx space, has been so empowering, because I learned a lot of history just by being in the space and listening to the music and learning the different dances, because the amount of Black and Indigenous influence in that space is just like, it's so palpable. Like, I cannot, every time I go into a space, I leave out with joy. And I have learned so much. I've connected with so many people. I just recently met an Afro-Indigenous and Afro-Mexican new friends, where we've literally just been talking about the intersection of the cultures and how proud we are to like share that common identity, but also like how proud we are of our Blackness, and just how we add that when we go into the dance circle. We're not afraid of what our hips need to do. We're not afraid of how low we need to go. We're not afraid to show and share that joy. So I wanted to encapsulate some of that and bring it into the space, because I just feel like dance culture for Black and Brown people is so powerful. In the Black culture, dance is a form of resistance. It's resilience. It's shedding off. It's letting go of tension and trauma stored in the body. And so we invited a couple of people from our sister city in Detroit, a couple of groups to come down and lead us, both give us the cultural history of the movement that we're going to participate in, and then lead us in this movement. So I'm going to have to pack like some tissues in my pocket, because I already know I'm going to be emotional on that day, but really bringing together just our people to celebrate is something that we need this. We really need this, and we deserve it. So we're going to have food for you. I mean, we're still pulling the food together as we speak. what we could use support with is items for our giveaway. So we're going to have a giveaway, which means that everybody who comes, our goal is they leave with something, a free item. So we're going to be pulling together items for our giveaway. This could be any regular thing that anybody could use. This could be things from kitchen cooking spoons to dish towels. This could be bowl sets. This could be glass sets, like drinking glasses. I remember one time I went to a giveaway and I really had needed some more drinking glasses, and they were in a giveaway, and I was like, I needed this, and that it made me happy. It just made me happy to get it.
Art supplies.
Yes,
too,
art supply, like anything that contributes to just our daily needs, but also our joy, our happiness, so we want to include things for children, things for our arts folks, just things that could be useful, just gifts, really. So if you have something that you or your organization would like to donate, if you would like to donate to us even, is the donate link on our website,
Yep.
blmkzoobc.com. You can donate directly on our website. We are a project of STARA, so STARA is our fiscal sponsor. And so we do our fundraising through their organization. So you can donate to us that way. You can also just bring physical items that day of June 13th. And we just want people to come and rock with us. Come eat, come stay, come play, come connect with people. But let's come and celebrate, Sometimes getting stuck in just organizing and just fighting, we have to have the other component of the joy and the release. So that's what we're hoping this event will offer to our beloved community members. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I've been thinking about what I'm going to wear for like the last week or so. I'm like, it's probably going to be hot, and am I going to do this, and am I going to wrap my hair, or I really have been thinking about it, right? Like, okay. So anyways,
No, it is exciting. So I
and
get
it's
it.
our first
Yes.
community event.
Yes.
That's not a march, a protest, a rally, a political education. It's a joy event. So
And it has been a thing. A lot of things that I would just want to, kind of separate from this, I just want to highlight the fact that there have been a lot of things that we have really wanted to be able to do, and we like being able to see these things finally happen, whether they are in small ways or big ways, has been really meaningful. And I'm just going to shout out to Monty here, because without that drive and that vision, I can't say that any of us would be here. So thank you so much. So I'm also, like you said, like really, really excited. One of the things about being in community, there's something about music, the song that you sang earlier, and there's something about dance. There's communication in that without, not even, words don't have to be a part of it, but there's communication in that, and you feel that in your body, and you feel that in your soul.
There's energy, spirit being transmitted. Exactly.
It is refilling.
What I think about as being a Black American person, so coming from generations of people that have been placed onto this soil and learning Blackness through the context of being in an occupied U.S. American nation, there's so many restrictions that we're dealing with all the time that restrict expressing our Black selves freely, that, and I'm sure other brown folks understand this as well. Sometimes you don't even know until you get in a space and you're like, I've never done this before. Like, why have I never done African dance before? Why have I never heard about bomba until 2 years ago? Yeah. Like, why? And to be honest, like, to me, it's about us both reconnecting to one another, because we each bring our parts of the puzzle, right? Just like other forms of African diasporic music and dance are so important in the regions in which they were created and preserved and maintained, Black American music culture is also really important. It has such a big influence across the world. Like, think about like K-pop. Like, that is directly from Black hip-hop exposure and influence. Think about even reggaeton. That comes from, you cannot acknowledge reggaeton without acknowledging El General, like a black Panamanian artist. Like so many of the things that become neutralized as far as who they belong to have really important black roots that we deserve to acknowledge, and we deserve to understand and connect to others who can help us reconnect to our diasporic art form. So that's what I'm also excited about here.
Man.
And yeah, I'm a musician, so it's like the whole world of music, art, and dance is just a place I want to live in forever. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited about food because I love food.
Yeah,
So
and lots of different food. We didn't say, so all of our food is going to be from different caterers or restaurants around Kalamazoo, and we are looking at Black and Indigenous folks to
yep.
help get
Black
this
and brown,
food.
we're
So
putting this
it's
together.
exciting.
And like, just to remember in our values, we read that towards the beginning, it says we're committed to collectively, lovingly, and courageously working vigorously for freedom and justice for Black people. And by extension, that ends up leading to freedom and justice for all people. We know that the Latinx community and the Indigenous American community deal with extremely high rates of police violence. We know that there's brown lives being taken. We know that there's immigrant lives being taken that include Black and brown people. And so it's like in this spirit, understanding that when we say as Black Americans, this or that thing is killing our people, it's also killing others, other groups' people as well. So that's what by extension for all people also leads to. So when we focus on these values, empathy, love and engagement, diversity, globalism, we are part of a global Black family. We're queer affirming, trans affirming. When we internalize these values, we see ourselves in other people, and when other people internalize these values, they see themselves in us. And I think like that is so important, right? From a former lead in this organization, I remember they had taught the term of Ubuntu, right? Because I am, you are, or because you are, I am, excuse me. I've heard something similar in Yoruba. There's a word that isn't Momo. I'm trying to make my mouth make these shapes and sounds. Momo irire. It's something like that, and it basically is like I had to give appreciation because of what you do. I can do what I do, and I'm just like, okay, so this common theme is like this is a traditional African principle. So you know what I mean? We all take up a part of the labor for this, and we may do it differently. We may have different radical political views in certain ways, but if we can just agree on one common theme, which is the name of this movement, that Black Lives Matter, if we can agree on that, now what about, and no ifs, ands, or buts, can we agree on just that? Because that's the whole purpose of this existing as an organization and a movement. Black lives matter to us. That's why we're here. We are Black lives. We are Black bodies. We came from Black bodies. And it's like, we have to be able to draw a line and set an assertion that this is just what we stand on. That's it. And there's no apology for that. Why would you apologize for being real about what's real, right? So this is just a very hectic time politically, and it's really important that we just have very clear lines drawn on what we believe. So with that being said, let's move to community. Go ahead,
Yep,
go for it.
So one more event that I wanted to lift up. I know, like we got.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, it's nice.
He came through.
Yeah. He said, hey, we got one more thing to say.
Right.
The Juneteenth celebration in Bronson Park, June 20th, 1 to 7 p.m. We are going to have a table there. So if anybody is interested in engaging with us, connecting with us, please come out and chat. And we would just love to see y'all there. But that's the last thing I wanted to lift up. I know we could have like a whole other philosophical whatever conversation about everything we was
Yes.
talking about. We might have to do that in a future.
Yes, we will. Wait, about what? About
Session.
like connecting diasporically?
Yes, and what that
We need to do
means,
that.
and
Yeah.
there's something
'Cause
that
I have
I've
some
been thinking
ideas.
about, like the false neutral, like this neutrality. You had mentioned neutrality. I have this whole like notebook full of thoughts about false neutrals,
Ooh,
like
I want to
what
hear.
that looks like.
I want to hear about that.
And so yeah, that's gonna be a whole another
Yes.
conversation.
Let's do it.
But
We need to take just a quick check-in break with our audio technician because we want to make sure that we're set up to receive our commenters. Just because I forgot to open the Zoom room on my computer. So, Kenji, can you let us know if I need to open that up on my computer, how we can receive people into our Zoom?
If you're hearing it in the room, we'll hear it on the mics.
If I'm hearing it in the room. Okay, so I can open the room on my side. I'm not going to mess anything up for you. Okay,
Are
so
you recording the meeting?
am I recording the meeting?
Zoom meeting?
I am not.
I would record it.
You would, okay.
Yep, you're good.
Let me see about that. Let me see. Okay, because someone is waiting for us. Okay, 1 second. Pause. How do we record? Already started it. Is that okay?
yes.
All right, I'm going to admit someone. Hello? When you get in, holler at us, Kay. Kay, you can come off mute if you're ready. If you need a couple minutes, just throw it in the chat and we'll keep talking.
There we go.
There you go. Hey. Hey, girl. Hey. Welcome in. We're having community comments, so whatever you got to say, go for it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for giving me the space as well. It's really been a heavy week with Byron and his deportation orders. It really my dogs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been really heavy just thinking about his situation and just the whole situation in general of like people getting kidnapped off the street, and just put into these detention centers and pushed until their limits, tortured and demoralized, and it's like it's difficult to see this now, but also just like growing up with this, it's been really just a big trigger for me growing up in the undocumented community, and like seeing people that I know that family members, getting deported and going through these systems unjustly, because the judge that Byron had, like his last the last judge that heard his case, number one, he didn't let the expert speak at his court case, so it was just relying on his report, which who knows if the judge really read the report.
And who was the expert? Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Who was this expert that was would have been helpful to speak?
Yeah, he was let me see his name. Yeah, he basically was a person who like was studying about has been like had a lot of study on like the political situation in Latin America and Ecuador and lots of countries, and like how tying in how the government is complicit with these gangs, and with the situation of how people have to run, have to leave their countries because their country, their government is not protecting them, and not only not protecting, but facilitating and supporting this violence against indigenous people. You know, for different reasons, either for, you know, political like force, to be able to, you know, take political power and put far right, you know, like Trump supporters, Trump supporting United States supported people, for land theft, as we're seeing a lot in Mexico. So this was a professor. His name was Robert Harding. And so he just, you know, wrote out this document and was going to testify in the court to tie Byron's case to Byron's case, like showing why he needed his asylum case approved. Ultimately, the judge said that there wasn't enough evidence for him to be able to see the connection between the government and you know, government's failure to protect him, or government's failure or connection to like what Byron experienced out there, you know, which is like the threat to his life and like gang violence.
Do you think that correlation between like just the white privilege of judges themselves allows them to say that they cannot see or validate this threat? Do you think that that's a big part of it? Because I've often thought that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This judge, so I could see in this application I had to see Byron's court cases. I could see the approval rate of this judge. And his approval rate was 79, his denial rate was 79.99%. Of the cases that he saw, he denied.
He denies the majority of them.
He denies the majority of them, and it's really up to like it's really up to them. You know, a lot of times this is mostly for, you know, it's a political like they play with people's lives, you know, because like it's all about politics. Like even though these judges say, you know, like they're following the law or they have this criteria, like you could tell they're all, you know, supporting what is going on. They're like usually white men. And you know, like they support Trump, and they like there's like sometimes they approve cases and then sometimes they deny cases. There isn't really like a straightforward process where they're just like, you know, it's unjust. It's unjust. So this judge was one of the more stricter and conservative judges, to the point where he didn't let the experts speak. Right? His name's Jepsen Mark.
Okay, that's the name of the judge, Jepsen Mark.
Yeah, Jepsen Mark.
Wow.
Yeah.
And can you just in case nobody people haven't heard before, can you quickly explain like what is Byron's case, like what happened for him to be in this position right now where he's facing deportation?
Yeah, so he was stopped by ICE agents early February, and he tried to, you know, show his identifications, and he was not given the opportunity to do any of that. They pulled him out of the vehicle and tossed him into a snowbank, you know, pushing his face into the snow. There was a video there. Somebody started recording when this was happening, so it went viral. Everywhere in Latin America started the conversation about, you know, ICE's brutality against immigrants and how they were just out of control, you know, when it came to arrest, like detaining people, not giving people the opportunity to identify themselves, because a lot, there was plenty of times in the video where he was like, I want to identify myself. I have a lawyer, you know, he had an asylum process that he was going to, that he had been going to, and hadn't missed any appointments or anything like that. But, you know, regardless of that, it's like the inhumanity really was highlighted in this video of, you know, them pushing his head in the snow, and the violence, which they were, you know, just picking up people, and they sent him off to North Lake Detention Center up in Baldwin. And so he's been there since early February. He applied for habeas corpus, which is, you know, like saying that, you know, detained, and he actually won this habeas corpus, but another stricter judge denied his habeas corpus, and denied his bond. So they didn't deny his habeas corpus. He won that, but then it goes to the immigration judges, and they get to decide either if they're going to approve or deny your bond and how much bond. And the bonds have been ridiculous: $15,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a bond, for people to be able to get out.
So he has not been able to get out because even though they proved that he was wrongfully detained, they wouldn't let him go. And so he's been in detention since the day that he was picked up by it was ICE. There was a local Grand Rapids police officer assisting, and there was the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms division also that assisted. So like 3 branches of policing that assisted with his detainment. That's what I remembered seeing in the video.
Yes,
and so he's
that was a big conversation with the ATF being there. People are like, oh, he must have had a gun. Or he must have, had drugs or something, because that's like the narrative that Trump is painting right now of immigrants. It's like, like we're criminals and like, just breaking all these laws, breaking the law and, using us as political pawns for their land grabs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I hear this, I hear so many commonalities between police brutality against Black people, and I hear so many brutalities against the injustice of the court system and who makes a decision about something that really impacts Black lives. I hear that echoed with what you're saying. And because I've been following this case, and so and had a lot of conversations with you and listening and learning from Cosecha and Grand Rapids as well, how they have been advocating for Byron to be freed and to win his asylum case. I know there was it was really difficult to hear that had been denied, after just all of the ups and downs, even emotionally, that this puts others connected through, and then the person themselves that's going through this, right? Because of Byron, I feel like we were able to get a little bit more of an understanding of what was happening and how people are being treated inside of that Baldwin Detention Center. Do you want to touch on any of those things?
Yeah, definitely. It was really an emotional roller coaster to visit him month after month and see the demoralization. I mean, he was always a very positive person. I mean, he was praying for the guards and always trying to have a positive outlook on the situation, but just the torture that they endure, the psychological torture of being in a prison, being in a cage, and the trauma, you could see it time after time, just really demoralizing. So that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to appeal his case, was because he was tired. They tired him out. He was tired of being in prison for nothing, for really nothing.
That must be a tactic or a strategy for sure, to wear people down so that they don't keep fighting. And they just accept whatever it is that the governmental body wants them to do in the first place, right? Which we've seen, even with the people who support what has been happening with the aggressive detention and detaining of people all over, right? We were watching this in Chicago, and then we're watching it in Minneapolis, and it's been next door in Grand Rapids. Do you want to say anything about what the community, just things that we could be more aware of with the reality that this is an ongoing thing and that it is very close to Kalamazoo people?
Baldwin is about 2 hours away, and just recently some of the detainees in Baldwin were on a hunger strike because of the conditions in the detention center and the quality of the food and should be free,
Mm.
who have,
Mhm.
pending cases. There was residents there. There was, like, people with mixed status.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
um, the word was that they were getting retaliated against
Mm.
for striking, for protesting the conditions, like adding on to already deplorable conditions. They were retaliating with more deplorable conditions instead of like,
Mm. Mhm.
it
Mhm.
just points to the fact that they don't see us as human, right?
Mhm.
They
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mhm.
see us as, worthy of like human rights
Mhm.
at the
Mhm.
very basis
Mhm.
of this. And so, that ended, but it did shed a lot of light on just the conditions in
Mm.
which they are holding people, and, the demoralization, the psychological warfare that
Mhm.
happens,
Mhm.
within the prison system as well. Like, it is, like, very similar to that, it's like the same thing, basically, for profit, for, enrichment,
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
greedy, white supremacists running this country.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it definitely, like, to me, I keep saying this, it's like Grand Rapids is the epicenter of the war here locally, because
Mm.
we don't have this experience in Kalamazoo where,
Mhm.
there's three
Mhm.
ICE administration's offices in Grand Rapids, and people are
Mm.
getting picked up left and right. And the need
Mm.
for mutual aid is always increasing, because families, they usually take the breadwinners, and the families are left, the kids are left behind, and the
Mhm.
moms are left to
Mhm.
figure everything out.
Mhm.
And so, there's a big need for us to plug into the efforts in Grand Rapids, and the push
Mm.
for their sanctuary policies, for divestment from the, from ICE, and for them to stop Grand Rapids police, from collaborating with ICE, because
Mm.
once they
Mhm.
start
Mhm.
collaborating, it makes the violence, increases the violence, right? They don't go to
Mhm.
help out citizens to protect constitutional rights.
Mm.
They go and they violate people, and they
Mhm.
help in the violence against our people.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow, that's so much. It's so much. I constantly, sometimes I think about, I'm like, what type of motivational talk do you need to give yourself every day to keep going when you wake up in that place? What do you think about to survive? Um, and also just that feeling of your outcome, your fate is in someone else's hands that doesn't know you, doesn't know your story, really likely doesn't care. Their job is to make a decision, and they've got lots of decisions to make. And the humanization of the person, just like we talk about when we talk about police and court injustice for Black people, that feeling of you can't help but notice the prejudice, you can't help but notice that stereotypes and bias and all of these things are factors in the court system. And so feeling supported or feeling like there's hope or there's a chance right now, that feels very low, just observing this situation happening to those at risk and those detained. What do you think those who have citizenship should be doing or could be doing, even just with supporting Grand Rapids? As you mentioned, Kalamazoo isn't facing the exact same level of experiences and action right now towards the immigrant and undocumented community. What could people in Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, surrounding areas that are not experiencing this level of risk right now, what could we be doing to support what's happening, say, in Grand Rapids? What could we be doing better?
It is so multifaceted. When I see different people, like, we all have different talents, we all have different strengths, and I tell people, like, plug into, like, what you feel is the best approach, listening to the impacted community, listening to the organizations like Cosecha and Grand Rapids Response to ICE that all have this experience, with direct action, direct, ICE, direct ICE contact. And, it's a matter of really just listening. A lot of times, people, like, see this so far away, like in Minnesota and like Chicago, and LA, and like those communities, they've always had this presence as well. You know,
Mhm.
similar to
Mhm.
Grand Rapids, it's like they have been organizing. They have been, you know, bringing the community together. You know,
Mhm.
like me growing up, that was part of my upbringing, was always being organized. You know, to be
Mm.
able to keep each other safe against, you know, ICE, and protecting our undocumented community or mixed status communities. And so it's like, you know, for our community in Kalamazoo, you know, even for me coming here to Kalamazoo, it's like I was so separated from that reality to the point where I didn't know that this was like a reality in Grand Rapids. You
Mm.
know,
Mhm.
45 minutes away, it feels like it doesn't feel that far, you know,
Mhm.
going there,
Mhm.
it's not far,
It's
but
not.
it is there. So like really putting our eyes on the local situation and figuring out how to support the local community, and you know, seeing our social realities here in Kalamazoo, like, you know, strengthening the areas in which our community needs support, you know, in mutual aid, because our
Mm.
community goes to Grand Rapids
Yep.
for their appointments, they go to Detroit for their
Mhm.
appointments, so they're not getting, you know, they're not getting caught here. They're getting caught in the other communities and coming here, and they need our support here, right? And it's like,
Mm.
you know, there's so much room to like really understand, you know, the support. And I keep saying this, like, you know, part of that is like deconstructing internalized white supremacy, you know, deconstructing individualism, and you know, like seeing the benefits in mutual aid, and keeping our eyes on the situation in Grand Rapids, and at least sharing, right? Sharing the posts, and you know, getting with, if like, you know, some people like to do politics, like calling the representatives for accountability so that they could send, you know, people to inspect the detention center. Like there's so many different ways that people could plug in to the efforts that are happening. It's just a matter of like listening and paying attention, right? Because a lot of times, like, it's like we want to apply what is happening in other communities so far away, what we see on TV, the propaganda we see on TV, and we just like, there's people who just like, oh, we're ready to act, we're ready to like stand against ICE, but it's like laying the foundation for what that looks like is just as important to be
Mhm.
ready for
Mhm.
when that reaches Kalamazoo, because it's only a matter of time, right? We already
When.
had that attempt by the city commission to pass the COPS grant, which
Mhm.
basically would have given Kalamazoo 10 ICE agents, 10 agents
Mm.
with 287G agreements, and it would have opened the doors for Trump's, you know, I forget that word, but his presidential proclamations, or, you know, his, you know, imposition on communities. Like
Mm.
we were at the point of being very vulnerable to this, and
Mm.
so
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
like learning from the communities around us, our local communities, is going to be very important.
Now I want to ask you another question. Just answer what feels right. Um, What do you feel like the role of respectability politics plays in this? Like, just like in the black community, when we say, well, if you just do this, if you just do this, if you just comply, if you do this or that right thing, then you're going to lower your risk. But what we find is that's not necessarily how that goes at all. All you have to do is exist in your body and just be outside of your house. What do you think about that as it pertains to the risk to undocumented and immigrant communities, or even those that are perceived due to bias and stereotypes to be a part of that community?
Yeah, it you know, it's a very nuanced conversation. Like personally, for me, respectability politics has never been like a question of, you know, it's always been of like either keeping people safe, or keeping people, you know, tied to uncertainty, because that's what ICE and policing is. Like it is uncertainty
Mm.
of our realities, and sometimes people with privilege, people who are able to play respectability politics and feel a sense of safety, don't really grasp what the,
Mm.
you know, community without that social power and that social dynamic, you know, that is sustained by respectability politics, what that feels like. And
Mm.
so definitely has come up a lot in the attempts to organize rapid response and be ready for what community is asking, because, there is still community who believes that complying and, just letting it happen is the best way, that they have a path, and if it is not up to us to convince them otherwise, but there is people in the community who, would like the intervention, would like, for people to step in. And that's one of the things when Byron was getting, he was getting brutalized, was he was asking for community. And he really believed that if community would show up, that he probably would have been free. And so, there is that, kind of conversation with people who have more privilege, who are just like trust the system, who are playing into respectability politics, to think that this system still is, gonna keep us safe, when in reality, like, no, we're not safe. Privilege is just a front, because ultimately we live in these bodies. We are just as vulnerable now as anybody else. And like growing up, I really did feel that sense of like privilege, being documented, and being able to use my privilege, to protect my community, to add a layer of safety. But now it's like, even that sense, the reality is that it's not true. It's just a front. It's just how we feel like what is most comfortable, but it really is not. It's not certain. Being community and allowing community to, have agency over what they feel is best to keep them safe should not be policed, because that's what respectability politics is. It's the policing of what community is asking for, even if it doesn't follow the law or follow the politics, that ultimately don't keep us safe. Because as we see it in this administration, both Democrats and Republicans are playing games with our lives. They're not pushing enough for human rights. And so, like, where are these progressives and these like liberals when like people are getting put into concentration camps in real time? Like that cannot wait for politics. That cannot wait for like political advocacy and policing of what community needs to do to keep safe.
I'm curious about if the U.S. is seen the same way now as how some may have verbalized they believe the United States to appear as like this land of opportunity and a place to build a better life for yourself. I'm curious how that has impacted that view now, because of the treatment that has escalated over the past couple of years, since Trump 2.0 happened. I'm curious about that, the impact on that viewpoint. As a Black and Indigenous person who is generationally descended from people that have been born in this land, one thing that our communities have echoed is that like we have never had just a easy breezy time here. We have always had histories built on attempts to exploit, steal lives and labor. Like, we have never had this make America great moment. It has always been at our expense. I'm curious, do you have just anything to say about like how has this impacted that view that this is a land of opportunity, that this is a land of free people, and this is a land of making your life better?
Yeah, I feel like, it is a hard, the American dream is very prevalent, especially in the Latinx community, of, this belief that you just have to work really hard and you could achieve, your dreams. But, especially with this administration, it's like, even harder to achieve that ability. And there's this, that immigrant people through like their journey, even through like what it was like in the jungle, and like with the coyotes, and like it really shows the struggle. The abuse of ponds, like just shipping them out to different states, and being homeless, and being and owing the uncertainty of like, are like I are in the hands of people who don't serve, who as an 8% rate works.
Oh no, we lost our connection. We were having issues with the internet connection.
Oh,
I know there were. Let's see if it reconnects. There we go. Sorry, we lost.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, we lost our connection due to our internet. Can you just repeat your last couple of statements?
Yeah, so I was saying, are people really, are really people? Is there really an American dream when people are coming to the United States? Even when they get to the border, like those there is, if there's like, they're disenfranchised. People are not. There's no support, and coming into the United States, used as political pawns, facing homelessness. Like you said, like their lives are in the hands of these judges who know them, who don't humanize them, who have 80% denial rates. People who really face danger in this. So it really is something that needs to be really deconstructed in our culture. And like I feel like Trump's job is to really show people. I mean, unfortunately, I would say, like an inhuman job.
It happened again. Yeah. I wasn't able to connect to this internet.
oh.
So that was an oversight on my part. I apologize for the internet disruptions. I should have connected to the internet. Do you have an ability to connect?
Let me
Are you
see.
connected to this internet?
I am, but I'm not in the Zoom.
Okay. Sorry, Kay. Thanks for being patient with us. We're really struggling with our internet connection. I'm not sure where a tech person is that can help us with that. But yeah, let's do some closing comments so before it gets dropped again.
Recording in progress.
Okay, were you able to hear me? Here we go. You know what?
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry, we had our internet drop a couple times. Yeah, it keeps saying that the connection's unstable. That's
Alright,
ironic.
Give me one moment, because I think I can.
Jada's gonna try to open the room on their end in just a second. Thank you so much for all of these. All of this though, this was a really educational conversation, and you do a really good job of like telling the story of and this reality in a way that just makes to me it makes so much sense. It just lays it out, and I really do.
Ooh,
I really
so
do
sorry.
applaud your just your involvement and your tenacity and your drive to just continue to educate people, and also just be very involved and just be very real. It's hard to do that in such a patriarchal world, and one that doesn't respect the voices of women in matriarchal leadership, but you keep going anyway, and I just really appreciate that about you and your leadership. So I'm going to mute my computer, and you can finish what you wanted to say. It'll come from Jade's computer. Are you unmuted?
Hello.
Yes, I am here. Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, thank you for having me as well and opening up the space to speak on this truth. A lot of times, this gets, really, the depths of it isn't really felt, by the community, and something that, I'm very present with, of like our realities in this system, this capitalist system of extraction, of profit over on our bodies, and the dehumanization that happens A lot of times because people don't know the stories, people don't know the depths of the impact on our communities. And so it's something that, keeps me going every day, is like, really highlighting the need to humanize us more than anything, to listen to our communities, to listen what people are saying, and really, putting our eyes on where the biggest need is, so that we could, also support and learn from, communities who, like in Grand Rapids, who already are, connected and have been doing this work, like Cosecha. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
coming
We
on.
appreciate you. And although we know that, unfortunately, Byron, his case for asylum was not approved by this court system, we just want him to feel like he matters. We have heard his story and been following along, and also just learning so much. This has been, I feel like, a learning period also for a lot of us who have been citizens, albeit treated as lower class citizens, due to race and historical caste, but also just watching this. And I think about how even throughout our history in Black America and Indigenous America, how there were certain things going on.
Stopped.
There were certain things going on with.
Recording in progress.
It's okay. We're still doing our technical difficulty thing. Even though there are so many things going on where certain portions of the community were experiencing violence, and other portions may have had some respite from that based on where they migrated or they fled, or who they joined together with for some protection and support, there were still ways that pathways to freedom and safety were co-created with those who had more access and more respite and more privilege. And I think that's something we got to continue to think about. If this isn't our immediate risk, what are we doing to co-create those pathways and those places of safety? So just putting that out there, that's something every community has to figure out and has to look at and decide that they feel that that's a collective responsibility. So with that being said, I don't believe we have any more community comments at this time. I'm just checking. Yeah, I don't see anyone else that's indicated they would like to speak. So we will move forward. Thank you, Kay. Hope you have an awesome day. Was there something you wanted to mention about this?
So one of the things that we had wanted to share with folks is there is a social change ecosystem framework that was created by Deepa Iyer. She is a South Asian social change professional practitioner, and she leads different workshops but this thing that Kay was talking about earlier, because one of the questions that you asked was what are the things that we can do?
Yeah.
And she said it is multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about how some folks, they had a talent for politics. There were some folks that maybe have a talent for something different. And I felt like it really connected to this. And I know this was something that we wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about this social change ecosystem framework. So this can be used in a lot of different ways. It kind of breaks out some of the different ways that folks can get involved, and allows you to kind of take an inventory of what, if you're within an organization or you're in a group, or even if you're just taking a look at yourself to see what are the ways that you can contribute, but you can also see where are some of the gaps. But this is around working towards some type of social change. So we're going to make sure that we share this social change map, but I'm going to describe it to you really quick, and then we'll touch on some of the different things that are represented there. So at the very center is a list of values, and that's equity, liberation, justice, and solidarity. and then it kind of reaches out and connects to these different kind of ways that folks show up. And so one of the ways is a weaver, somebody who can see the through lines of connectivity between people, places, organizations, ideas, and movements. Now, when we talk about some of the work that folks are doing when they're showing up on the street, or they are showing up at commission meetings, or they are showing up in Lansing, those are our disruptors, right? They are the folks that are taking uncomfortable and risky actions to shake up the status quo, to raise awareness and to build power. That thing that you were talking about, for those of us who have citizenship and therefore have a level of safety in that realm, what are the things that we can do, right? Because our risk, it looks a little bit different. There's some privilege in that. There's also space for storytellers. Those are the folks who are crafting and sharing community stories, cultures, experiences, histories, and possibilities. And that's going to be through art, music, media, and movement. Boy, does that sound like everything that we are about to do at this Black and Brown Get Down, right? There's visionaries. I wonder who's the visionary at this table. But those are the ones who can imagine and generate the boldest possibilities, hopes, and dreams, and remind us of our direction. Any other ones that you want to lift up?
We have to have healers. One thing I learned because of past co-organizers in this organization, there were people who were just really good at doing healing things, whether they were just really regulated and they helped co-regulate people in the space, whether they just reminded us to rest, whether they just with their energy helped us feel very like we could have some emotional and spiritual support. So because we tend to have this generational and current traumas, healers are non-negotiable. So in that way, those that can see us and speak to us and remind us that, like, hey, we still need to take care of ourselves. What are the ways that that we can do that? It's so important. There's those that are doing the healing arts, and they just have these really calming and nurturing energies that are important. So that is one that's really important to me. I'm always looking for the healers in the space. I'm trying to offer what I can that could be healing, even if that's music. I'm often called on to share music. And I like something that's popping up for me now. Like, I know there's folks that's out there doing like Black-led yoga, and I know there's folks that are doing like Black-led sound bowl, healing and those types of things. So those that get us moving and get our bodies going, those exercise classes, those sound healing spaces, every time I see those, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, because we need that so much. And one thing when you mentioned storytellers, a thought that popped up for me is people who continue to tell the story of our resilience and our tenacity. That always inspires me to keep going, as someone who I feel is like a natural carer of community, and it shows up through organizing, but it also shows up through wanting to also share and do my part in what storytelling I can do, passing on what we've learned, any skills that you have that can contribute to helping preserve and reclaim culture. Like that, to me, falls into that, and the weaver, and it's so important, so powerful. So our connection to one another, to me, is number one. When we're connected to one another, we can see other people's gifts and skills coming out, and we could be like, you're really good at this. I don't have to carry everything. I don't need to carry everything. I just need to give people the space to perform their own role, and they will naturally have those factors. They can refine them. They can, but I think encouraging one another to figure out what our role is, what we're naturally good at, what we're drawn to. I do think there's something really traditional about that. Just respecting that's who that person is. That's what they do. It has a place. It's important. But so do the other multiple roles that exist and are all necessary in helping us with social change. So I like having this map because it just reminds me that everyone is so important. Everyone is so important. And we don't all have to do all the things. I think sometimes it could feel discouraging to feel like there's not enough people or a lot of people that you can see in that moment that are adding to those things. But when I look back over the long path and journey of even the organizing work or even just my own life and upbringing, I see people that played so many roles, even in small or short-term ways, where I was like, that really added so much to my life that I don't forget, that I remember. How can I make sure that I'm adding to others and I'm giving back? I'm showing that reciprocity. That's what comes up for me. And I also want to stress the importance of guides. In a lot of like African and indigenous centered cultures, elders are extremely important, and they are our guides. They remind us how far we've come. They don't allow us to forget and sanitize history, and they also are living proof and testament of resilience and continuing on. So I think just talking to them and giving them space to share is always helpful, and letting them lead with giving experience and giving encouragement and that type of thing. I always feel really special when an elder comments something encouraging to me, because it's like I feel like I'm on the right path, and it really is meaningful. It means a lot. So as you continue growing in your life journey and you continue getting older, remember to turn back and encourage other people that you see are just doing things in a good way. They're doing things that are helpful and that the community needs. Like, encourage them and let them know that you appreciate what they're doing. It does go a long way to be seen. That's what I have to add there.
Absolutely.
So we're being reminded to repeat the cookout info in the website. So the cookout info is on June 13th. We're having a Black and Brown Get Down. So if you feel you need to be in that space, and you can come, even if you're not a Black and Brown person, but if you get down with what our mission is, what our values are that we read at the beginning of this live stream, and you're there to support, feel free to come and respectfully be in the space. But we're just going to be unapologetically celebratory of who we are, and we deserve to make those spaces for ourselves. June 13th, it is from 1 to 4 p.m. at Upjohn Park in Kalamazoo, and we look forward to coming out and engaging with y'all. Website, can you remind people, what is this website?
So the website, our website is blmkzoobc.com. That's blmkzoobc.com.
And if there's any Battle Creek Black folks in the house who are in the virtual listening room who are looking to get plugged into this type of organizing that we do as BLM Grassroots, and you feel aligned with our guiding principles, which are front page and center on our website, please do reach out to us. Our email is blmswmich, which stands for Southwest Mich, @gmail.com. We would love to have more people to work with in our sister city of Battle Creek so that we can help lean into whatever support is needed there. So please do. We are looking for Battle Creek folks to collaborate with. If you're a KZoo person and you lean into those collective values and those guiding principles, we're still building. We're always building and holding this space for those that are ready to step in and help move forward with us and take care of and look out for and protect and serve our community. So that's something I wanted to put out there before we log off. Was there anything else that you wanted to say or offer before we do our Asada ending?
I think this is going to sound super random, but cancer screening is important. If you are at a point in your life or in your health journey where it has been recommended to you by a doctor or a friend or a family member that you make sure you're getting your like a colonoscopy, a breast exam. Please, 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 please do it. We normalize losses to these things at a higher rate than what we should. And I know that we have challenges with, myself included, with being able to participate in the healthcare system. But if that's something that is available to you, please, please, please make sure that you are getting those checks.
Cancer screenings.
done.
That's a great
Yep.
reminder. Taking care of our health is never random. That needs to be an ongoing reminder that that's part of Black Lives Mattering, is taking care of ourselves. And to add to that, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I've spoken about that a little bit on my socials, but definitely checking in with how are our thoughts, how are our emotions, are we feeling okay? And if we're not, how can we get the support that we need? Whether you choose to self-care through podcasts or YouTube videos or certain influencers that really, really help you feel seen and heard. I've done that at points in my life, or whether you need to speak to someone who is a part of the therapy field, finding someone that works for you. There's never any shame in that. And we deserve to be, that goes back to that healing aspect we talked about in Social Change Map. We traditionally had healers, and some people have found healing through some of the religious faith beliefs, but also remembering we do have our own traditional beliefs about healing, and it's okay to reclaim and seek those things out. And also just whatever works for you, whatever feels right for you. Just take care of your mental health. It really does matter. Because we face so many things that impact our mental wellness in this world, it's just really important that we deserve to take, just as much as we're caring and dealing with, we deserve to take that much time and more to continue to rejuvenate, to rest, repair, and to ask for help when we need help. That is something we deserve. We deserve generations long rest after everything that we've been through, frankly. So we're going to close out with the Asada. The Asada is something that BLM Grassroots has created as a tradition of repeating the words of Asada Shakur when we leave a space together. So the words are: it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. So it's that kind of 4-line affirmation. So we are going to go, and we have a video of Andrew Joseph Sr. saying the Asada, or helping to lead it in a group. And we want to close out saying that together with this group. So let me pull up that video, and we'll say this together. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect one another.
We must love and protect one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect one another.
We must love and protect one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains. Power up. So put your
It is
fist
our
up.
duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect one another.
We must love and protect one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Ashe.
Aseo. Rest in power, Andrew Joseph. That part.
Yes, rest in power, Andrew Joseph.
Powerful voice.
Very powerful.
That growl.
Yes.